Red card mayhem in the Champions League. Rudiger in Real Madrid talks Liverpool in crazy transfer stories, and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes, as I'm your host, Matt Frolic. You are the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first up, last night saw some absolute carnage in the Champions League. There were 6 red cards. This equals the total amount of red cards given on any match day in Champions League history. What on earth had got into quite a few players? Anyway, we're going to go through it, as well as looking at who has made it through and who will be dropping into the Europa League and out of European competition altogether. And first off, the first one of the night went to Kyle Walker, and it was a very stupid decision. Obviously, a little bit of annoyance got the better of him, and he decided to kick out and deserved his red card. This only compounded what was a poor night for Manchester City, as they lost 2-1 to Leipzig. Unfortunately, Leipzig couldn't make it into the next round of the competition, dropping to the Europa League as Manchester City and PSG make it through. As for PSG, Kylian Mbappe became the fastest player to score 30 Champions League goals, as he grabbed 2 inside the first 7 minutes and pretty much set them on their way to victory. Not saying the match was done by then, but it pretty much was. Anyway, Lionel Messi grabbed another 2 goals on the night as well to take his tally to 5 in the Champions League this season. And on top of this, he now has 125 goals in the competition. The first one from Messi was just the most Messi goal you've ever seen. Left foot, curl it, far corner, beautiful placement, lovely stuff. Next up, and to the Dortmund game, where Wellington actually got, I think, a pretty harsh red card. Yes, it was given for being a last man and bringing down Mahmoud Dahoud for a penalty, but I don't think he was last man. There was a defender next to him. This one, I think the Besiktas defender can count himself a little bit unlucky. Anyway, that and the converted penalty pretty much set Dortmund on their way to a 5-0 thrashing, but they also could not make it through to the knockout stages. They dropped into the Europa League, and Haaland came on and scored a double, because that's what Haaland does. But Sporting are the ones who have made it through behind Ajax, who won 6 out of 6 in the Champions League group stages, despite the fact that Sporting lost 4-2, and Sebastian Haller now has 10 goals in 6 Champions League group stage games, a feat only bettered by Cristiano Ronaldo with 11 a couple of years ago. They have made it through, Ajax that is, and Sporting as well. The next red card went to Nico Barella in Ed Milan's midfield, and this one was stupid. This one, guys, just do not do it. He got very frustrated at Eden Militao and decided to whack him on the knee. Yes, there wasn't that much pain. Of course, it's not going to hurt that much this morning for Militao. But what is Barella doing? Just don't whack anybody. Not anywhere. Not on their toe, not on their knee, not the opposition, not your own players. Nobody. You do not go onto a football pitch or just off the pitch punching somebody. Unfortunately, Barella did that, got a red card. It didn't help his team's cause as Real Madrid won the match. Both teams are through though, and it looks as though Sheriff are going to take that spot in the Europa League after their 1-1 draw with Shakhtar. But we are not done there. We are not done there with the red cards and with the Champions League nonsense as we head to the Porto against Atletico Madrid game. And this absolute scenes. I'm not gonna lie, it was very, very enjoyable viewing just because it was so damn entertaining. Yes, the other group game saw some lovely goals as Liverpool won 2-1 at AC Milan and also made it 6 out of 6 like Ajax, but the real viewing was to be seen in Portugal, right? Antoine Griezmann's giving Atletico Madrid the lead, everything's going fine, and then Carrasco goes a bit mad. You can't just go grabbing people's necks. The same thing as the Barella thing. Stop grabbing people by the neck in a violent manner on a football pitch in between the referee and the assistant referee. Like, both of them were no more than 5 yards away. It's a deserved red card, and Atletico Madrid obviously took it upon themselves to try and even up the scores, and they did so less than 2 minutes later. Yes, there was a little bit of a scuffle on the touchline, but unfortunately for Wendell at Porto, he came in a bit too aggressively on Mateus Cunha. I don't actually think it was that aggressive, but you can't go blocking someone whilst you've got the ball trying to get it back on the pitch with your elbow up. It just doesn't make sense, and the red card was there to be given. Such a ridiculous thing to do. That evened up the scores, certainly in terms of red cards per team. On top of all of this, Marquezin also saw a red card, and he wasn't even on the pitch. He was a substitute for Porto. I didn't even see what he did. There was just a massive scuffle. But anyway, Atletico Madrid eventually came out on top with a 3-1 victory with a couple of goals in injury time before Porto's very, very late penalty, and it means that they make it through. The bad news though on the night for Atletico was that Luis Suarez picked up an early injury, and it has ruled him out of the Madrid derby this weekend. Moving on then from that crazy night of Champions League action, action. I'm sure there'll be more tonight as well. And to some transfer news. And yesterday, we mentioned that Attila Szalai is moving from Fenerbahce to Chelsea. Well, that's according to the Hungary coach Marco Rossi. But today, his club Fenerbahce have denied that that is true. But it hasn't stopped a few rumours coming out of Chelsea that they're going to be losing a defender very soon. Hence Szalai as the replacement. And that is Antonio Rudiger. Apparently, his brother, who is also his agent, has an informal agreement with Real Madrid for the German defender to move there at the end of the season. Of course, with his contract running out at Stamford Bridge from the 1st of January, he could talk to any foreign club about potentially joining them, and the reports suggest there were also talks held with Bayern Munich as well, but it looks as though Real Madrid are leading the race for his signature. Like I mentioned, with Chelsea losing quite a few defenders, they really won't want to lose any more, hence why they've been linked with signing some other defenders. And for Real Madrid, despite the fact that Alaba and Militao have formed a very solid partnership after losing Varane and Ramos in the summer, they do need a bit of strength in depth, and on a free transfer, Antonio Rudiger is a top-class defender and definitely brings that. And next up then, we look at a few of the ridiculous rumours that are flying around concerning Liverpool. It's clear that they are a very, very good team, but in January, we're going to see just how strong their strength in depth is, especially because they are losing Sadio Mane, Mo Salah and Naby Keita to the African Cup of Nations, which, by the way, has been pushed a little bit earlier and will start on the 3rd of January. Of course, they'll only lose these players for a maximum of 4 to 5 weeks, but it gives a little bit of an insight into how Liverpool are going to cope not only without them in January, but also moving forward as well. So much so that they've been linked with the move for Paulo Dybala. Now, apparently there is promising talks between Dybala and Juventus about extending his contract, but if talks break down or they don't get anything done by the 1st of January, the Argentinian can officially talk to other clubs, including Liverpool. And maybe if he sits down with the club, sits down with Jurgen Klopp especially, he may be tempted into joining them. And if this gets back to Juventus, they'll probably want to sell him to make a bit of money rather than losing him on a free. So could we see Dybala at Anfield? The deal makes sense, but I'm not quite sure it's going to happen. Definitely not in January. And the other one that's been linked with the move is Toni Kroos. Again, same sort of thing. His contract runs out in 2023. But if Real Madrid don't want to lose him on a free, then they could sell him for cheap next summer. There were a few rumours that Jurgen Klopp had already spoke to his fellow German, but I really don't see Toni Kroos leaving Real Madrid just yet, especially when it looks like they may be losing Luka Modric at the end of the season, and they don't want to lose too many midfielders all at once. Finally then, a quick run up of the rest of the day's news and transfer news that you might have missed. And despite the fact there is a COVID outbreak at Tottenham Hotspur, UEFA expects their Conference League game against Rennes to go ahead on Thursday night. Not so sure about the Premier League game at Brighton on Sunday. Elsewhere, and Ajax are interested in taking Spurs winger Steven Bergwijn. West Ham want to take Nathan Ake on loan from Manchester City after it looks like Zuma and Ogbonna are going to miss quite a portion of the season. And lastly but not least, Renato Sanchez is open to a move to Arsenal, but they face competition from AC Milan, who look like they could be losing Franck Kessié. That's all from me then. Make sure you come back tomorrow to check out loads more OneFootball content.